Hi everyone, I'm Jill.
And I'm Alice.
And this is
Waterfront Wednesdays,
brought to you by
Boston Harbor Now.
Every year there's about 10 billion tons of containerized stuff that makes its way across the globe. 10 billion with a B. That is a lot of stuff. It's really hard to wrap your mind around that number.
Yeah.
Think about how difficult it's to wrap your mind around a world without all that stuff. So take a second, go to vesselfinder.com and look at how many vessels are out in the ocean pinging their positions to satellites right now.
I did it.
You did it.
There are ferry boats.
I know.
I found all the ferries I want to ride in the future.
It's pretty awesome. I spend hours. Literally, I could just sit there and click on things and just see the boats and back and forth, and it's like an amazing, it's very relaxing.
But Boston.
Right. Okay. Today we're going to talk about Boston Harbor and cargo. So first I want to ask you and Alice, where do you get everyday stuff?
From the store. From the internet.
I don't mean store, I don't mean Amazon, I don't mean any of that stuff.
You mean if it says made in China, it's from China?
Correct. I meant, where does stuff originate? Like the sweater that I'm wearing, the chairs that we're sitting on, the camera that's filming us. If we were to put a GPS tracker on all that stuff, you would very likely see a very boring trip of your stuff sitting very neatly packed in a container, making its way across the globe for probably the better part of its journey.
So I could watch it travel across an ocean or sit in a port.
Yep. So when we say containers, do you know what that means? Do you want to?
Big boxes.
Yep.
They come on ships. They go to Conley Terminal in South Boston. A crane comes down, it picks them up. And if it was anywhere besides Boston, it would do this. But in Boston, we have Logan Airport, so
Exactly.
they just do this.
So they're different colored boxes. You've probably seen them if you have walked by Conley Container Terminal. It's operated by the Massachusetts Port Authority, otherwise known as Massport. And they process an incredible 1.5 million metric tons of cargo.
And that's Massport, the people who run the airport, who are controlling the container terminal.
Exactly. And that cargo and that stuff, it's anything from bottles of wine to couches to furniture to even cement.
But other stuff comes into Boston on boats. Like if I'm out sailing, there are huge boats passing me.
Right. So Massport is a part of what we call the working port. But the working port actually includes other businesses that contribute to what we're calling the working port economy.
Okay. So those are the boats that are going up into the Mystic River, Chelsea Creek.
Exactly. So Boston's Inner Harbor is a really cool mix of private and public terminals. They are divided into 4 working port areas that we like to call DPAs, otherwise known as designated port areas. And we have South Boston, East Boston, Chelsea, and Mystic. Mystic is a little tiny piece. It also contains Everett. But for the most part, the thing that you'll notice is that they each have very unique industrial personalities, we'll say. But they all contribute something to what we're calling the invisible working port industry. And without them, you would seriously notice how much they affect your everyday life.
So how is what's being shipped into Everett affecting me?
So it's really cold today. Like
Really cold.
Very cold, especially for someone like me that comes from the tropics. So chances are you are turning up your thermostat. What you might not know is that 50% of Massachusetts households rely on liquid natural gas to heat up their homes. Lucky for us, Massachusetts has 2 major terminals. One's in Gloucester and one is right here in Boston Harbor. And that terminal in Everett, in that Mystic DPA, provides about 11% of LNG throughout the New England region. Other large vessels that you have probably seen are the ones that bring road salt across the harbor. Those are the ones that are going to Chelsea's DPA, and they're going to Eastern Salt, and what they provide is salt for our roads. So it's an incredibly important function. Think about where we would be without road salt, right? Pretty slick, icy roads.
And if you go check it out, you can see the history and the geography that's coming with it. So there's these huge piles. When we took that boat tour, we could see there was like a pink layer and a gray layer and a white layer. And we learned that some of it's from Chile and some of it's from North Africa and some of it's even from Northern Ireland. And so all of that salt is coming and layering itself up in Chelsea.
Right, we have little tiny pieces of all over the world. But I want to talk about cars.
Bikes?
Cars.
Cars.
Have you ever been to Diversified Auto?
It's on the Mystic.
That's right.
In Charlestown.
That's right. So it's about an 80-acre facility, and they process every single Subaru that comes through New England.
Everyone. So like all the Subarus in Somerville, all the Subarus in JP,
They
came through Diversified Auto.
Yes, all the Subarus. So Dennis and his team process about 40,000 new Subarus a year. That's 225 customized Subarus a day.
They're making purple Subarus?
No. They do things like, for example, when you go to the dealership, you probably want to add some nice fancy bells and whistles to your car. So if you're in New England, you probably want heated seats, power locks, maybe a sunroof that you might use every now and then.
Backup cameras.
Right.
Better
all of those
seatbelts.
things. When the Subarus arrive through Boston Harbor, they come very plain. They're super basic. So what they do at Diversified Auto is there's a real human adding all of these tiny bells and whistles to your car to customize it, to make it your very own Subaru.
So to recap, we have talked about cars, salt, liquid natural gas, and the big boxes that come into Conley. That's the port?
Absolutely not. We could talk about the entire universe of the port for hours. Maybe even 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could have a whole season just talking about the working port.
What about ferries?
That too. That can be part of the working port. That is part of the working port. But the takeaway message today is that the working port touches every single one of our lives, and it's a very big part of what makes Boston Harbor tick.
So we see trucks on the road on a regular basis, but we often forget the importance of the shipping terminal and the rest of the port in bringing goods and services to the Boston region. Thanks for tuning in to Waterfront Wednesdays.
Follow us on Twitter @HarborHorwood,
And Ferry Ferry.
and we'll see you on the waterfront.